So, folks, we have the big Euro final tonight with Italy versus England. It should be a great game, and I know we have followers on our page from both Italy and England, so best of luck to you, and I hope you enjoy the match. When there's a big match on, I always feel obliged to throw in an old jersey, and today I'm going for an old Irish retro jersey, sponsored by Aircon. Who the hell are they? Reason for the Irish jersey, it's that last night with a few beers I was reminiscing about Ireland's great history with Italy in the football. Probably one we remember first is Italia 90, the World Cup of Italia 90. It was brilliant for Ireland, for both in football and the country. It was great times. And everyone remembers that penalty win over Romania, when Paddy Bonner saved a penalty, and the unlikely hero Dave O'Leary scored the winner to send Ireland to the World Cup quarter-final for the first time ever. Alas, it ended in Rome against Italy in the quarter-final when Toto Schillaci broke Irish hearts. And there was no hard feelings. Schillaci even went on to star in a Smithwick's ad on Irish television. You can look that up. But the one I want to ask you to recall is USA 94. Just over 27 years ago. Jesus, we're getting on. Do you remember that game and where you watched it? Most Irish people of an age will. The build-up and the party afterwards. And I'm going to just tell you my own little story of that famous game in the Giant Stadium in New York, 1994. I was a relatively young man living in London, and with a group of English friends and one Italian friend, I went to a place called the Mean Fiddler in Harleston, famous music venue near where I lived. Actually, in those days, I spent more time in the Mean Fiddler than I did in my own house. And the setup they had for the match was that you paid in to see the match, and it was going to be followed by live music and then a disco of some form to the late hours. My young nephew was actually over for the summer. I think he'd done his leaving or something, and he was over doing a bit of summer work. I was to be looking after him. I used to get anxious before big games. I couldn't eat properly, and I couldn't sit still for hours before the game. I'd pace up and down the room, count down the clock. I imagine many people in Italy and England are going through that now, so I empathise with just. Probably ill-advised, we started drinking early that Saturday with a few cans and then a drink of some yellow stuff that one of my housemates had brought back from Amsterdam. It's not good when you can only describe a drink as yellow stuff, but that's what it was. We drank it. Anyway, we went on to the Mean Fiddler. We met up with our friends, and the drinks were flowing. Flowing at a much more rapid pace than normal. As I said, high anxiety. So the game kicked off. The atmosphere is electric. Irish fans are singing from the get-go, and not a hope in hell you could hear the TV commentary. The noise was deafening. 12 minutes in, Ray Houghton hits a cracking goal, and Ireland are 1-0 up, and place goes bedlam. But with a long way to go. This was a really good Italian team back then. They had the likes of Baresi, Maldini, and of course the ponytail superstar Roberto Baggio. But I counter that we also had a very good Irish team. We had the likes of Houghton, Staunton, Aldridge, Townsend, the young Roy Keane, and the man himself, Paul McGrath, or McGrath, as English commentators insist on calling him. He was simply outstanding that day. He kept Baggio in his pocket, and afterwards the great Baresi commented that it was one of the best defensive performances he'd ever seen. High praise indeed. Anyway, we celebrated like crazy at the final whistle. Ireland had won 1-0. I don't remember what band played afterwards. To be honest, the Beatles could have reformed with support from the Rolling Stones, and I wouldn't have remembered. I left the place and it was bright outside. Bright going in, bright coming out. Obviously a sign of a rough night. I suppose I lost my young nephew, who was under my watch. He disappeared. He left the pub. I didn't notice. When I woke up the next day, I went in and checked his bedroom, and he still hadn't come home. To make matters worse, his ma rang from Ireland that morning to check up on him, and I had to make excuses. I think I said he was out shopping or something. We had no mobile phones back then. So I was worried, and what happened to him? This was London. Thankfully, he stumbled back in the afternoon. He had spent the night in the police cell. Now, he hadn't done nothing wrong. He wasn't that sort of lad. He left the pub, walked home in the wrong direction, then decided to jump in the Nightlink bus, which took him to the centre of London. A police car saw him stumbling along the River Thames and decided for his own safety to take him in. Fair play to them. Anyway, that night was Ireland's highlight of the World Cup. We went down the knockout stages, and in typical Italian style, they went on to make it to the final. Not a great game. I think you lost a penalty shootout against Brazil. Wasn't a good game. But anyway, if you're watching the game, if you're Italian or English, or if you're just neutral, enjoy the game, always, folks. Best of luck to both teams. I'm on the water. It took me 27 years, but I've finally learned how to pace myself. So, yeah, do the same, folks. And Sinead, good luck, everyone.